Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Got another viewer letter today, and as with many of my videos, I'd like to get your opinion at the end. But let me read the letter first today. It's kind of asking, basically, is there a Consumer Reports for tractors? Let's get to the letter. This comes from Robert, and Robert says, "Hi, Mike. Is there a website or research site I can use to get a good overview, but can also drill down into the data concerning 50 horsepower tractors on the market?" He says, "I can't afford the green paint, so I need to find a solid alternative brand with good service and parts as an alternative. Thanks." Well, Robert, what you're asking for, I think, is Consumer Reports. And if you are a Consumer Reports supporter and a consumer that uses them, I think you'll join me in singing their praises, because we recently bought a car for my daughter, and we had like probably 10 or 20 different models that we were looking at in the beginning. And by using Consumer Reports and watching their videos and looking at their rankings, we were able to pare it down pretty quickly to about 3 models. And once we found the 3 we wanted, and we're looking at a used car, we just got to find out what's available there in the used market. But it was invaluable. And if you've never checked out Consumer Reports, if you're a member and they are supported by donations, you can go on their website and there'll be a person in a car talking about a particular model, brand and model, what's good about it, what's bad about it. And they really cover about everything you need to know before you're buying a car. They'll talk about, how it drives, how the leg room is, how the visibility out of it is, how the entertainment system is, how the power is, how fast it'll go, everything you would want to know about cars. And then they also have a predicted reliability, because if the car's been out for a few years, and the one we got for my daughter had been, well, we could look at the reliability and see how good that was, and how many repairs the ones that were already out there had. Well, something like that, to my knowledge, does not exist for tractors, and I don't think it ever will. And the reason is several of them. First off is the volume of cars versus the volume of tractors. The number of cars sold in the U.S. last year was like 13.75 million, and the number of tractors sold was 270,000. So the people that put on Consumer Reports have a much larger potential audience than the people that would do the same thing for tractors. There were less than 2% the number of tractors sold in the U.S. last year compared to the number of cars and light trucks. So the amount of people you could reach with something like that is a lot lower. That's number one reason I don't think we'll ever see a Consumer Reports for tractors. The number two reason is because of the huge number of people that shop for cars, and Consumer Reports doesn't just do cars, they do all kinds of consumable items that they test. They are all driven by contributions. They don't have any affiliation with anybody. They don't take advertising dollars. So, they'll have some personal biases, but they are not biased by money coming in for advertising. And they're able to do that because the large number of people that are shopping for high dollar ticket items are willing to support them, and I'm one of them. With tractors, there's just not enough people out there to support something like that because of the volume, which we talked about in point number 1. Point number 3 is, I don't think there'll ever be a Consumer Reports for tractors. We all kind of use our tractors for different things. I was talking to a guy the other day, was thinking about buying a tractor for horse stalls. He's in Long Island, New York, and he's got a horse barn, and he cleans out horse stalls, and he's wanting to get in a tight area, and he was asking me about the size of tractor he needed. He never does any brush hogging of any kind or land grooming. And I'm like, well, do you really even need a tractor? Maybe you need a skid loader, a really small mini skid loader for doing that job. So, some of us use a tractor primarily for the front end loader. Some people like to groom their land. Some people mow their yard with it. There's so many different uses for a tractor. And for each use, sometimes there's a better product out there that can do it, but it can't do all the other things a tractor can do. So we own tractors for that reason. So the Next point is that there are so many different ways to test a tractor and so many different tasks that you could use a tractor for versus a car, or pretty much just going up and down the road, or maybe with a truck towing or hauling items like that. But with tractors, there's a lot more things we could be doing with them than just riding up and down the road. The next reason I don't think there will ever be a Consumer Reports for tractors is that if you own a tractor or have owned a tractor before, you probably already got a brand preference. And you know, I grew up with certain brands of tractors, and if you grew up with a certain brand, you tend to keep that brand on down the road and not change if they don't make a mess up and give you a bad product. So there is a lot, to me, more brand loyalty in tractors than there is in cars. And so anybody that's buying especially the people that farm with them, buying a bigger tractor, they already know more about the brands than probably anybody with a Consumer Report type rating service could tell them about them. And so I think that'll keep there from being a Consumer Reports type of rating. And the last thing is distribution. I'll always tell folks, and I stand by this and always will, when you're looking at a tractor, it's almost more important to find a dealer than it is to find a tractor, the brand. I always say find a dealer that you can trust, that you kind of gel with, that you get along with, that'll kind of negotiate with you a little bit, that takes good care of their people and sells a lot of product in your area, and buy what they're selling. The dealer that backs up the product is as important or more important than the brand. And the tractors that I've owned, we've always had a really good dealer in the area, and I could get service if I needed it. So not all brands are good at distribution in certain parts of the country. So the best tractor made may not have good distribution in your area, and the best tractor made without a good dealer is pretty worthless. So that kind of limits a Consumer Report style rating service. But there are a couple of things you've got to find out about tractors and the best tractor out there. And number one's YouTube. If you go around and Google any model of tractor, you'll probably find somebody out there like me that has rated it, maybe compared it to a different brand. Now sometimes they're selling one of the brands, and that kind of taints the information. And sometimes they're sponsored by one of the brands, and that can taint the information as well. But at least you can get an idea. Every tractor I've ever been on, there's one or two things I hate about it, and there's probably several things I like about it. And I'm not like everybody else. What I like about a tractor, where the controls are laid out, how it operates, how it feels, how it sets up. There's a million different ways you can evaluate a tractor, but what I like, you might not like. So that really restricts how a Consumer Reports type service could work for tractors. But YouTube's out there, and forums are out there. If you're wanting to know if a product has reliability issues, just type in the model number and product issues or reliability or ratings, and you'll find somebody that's rated that product. Now, I always kind of take those ratings with a grain of salt, because there's some folks that'll tear up anything or have problems with anything. And when I was in the dealership world, I saw this. I'd have a person in my office complaining to me about the tractor they'd bought from our company, and then I'd be talking to them, trying to work through it, and then they'd tell me about the pickup truck they bought that was a lemon, the car they'd bought that was a lemon, the boat they'd bought, or the RV they'd bought. It seemed like there was a recurring trend that everything they bought was bad, and the common denominator was the person that was buying it. Some people just aren't happy, and I feel for them. The bottom line is there's not a Consumer Reports type rating service that I know of. All the manufacturers have their specs. You can go to tractordata.com to get specs, but getting unbiased information in one place on all the products out there, I do not think exists. Now, if I'm wrong, please tell me. Put it in the comments down below. Maybe I've missed something. But I think you've got more than you had 20 years ago before YouTube. You've got YouTube and the rating service, the forums that are out there. But I don't think you have one clearinghouse where you can find out everything about every brand and every model. Thanks for watching.